Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Telescope says first like, where's my cookie? No, Telescope, thank you for catching the misspelling of whoa. Yes, I do know the difference. Yes, I did know the difference. I was in a rush, and when you caught it, and by the way, I watched the replay, and I was going through the comments, and Toya checked me early, and I still like, I wasn't paying attention to the comments. So yeah, I was in a rush, and I just was typing, and yeah, that was one of those last minute. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I did want to say something about that. So anyway, thank you very much for catching that. And yes, Mr. Strict to you, this is another reckless stream. Yes, it is. It's not driving reckless, but if you know, you know. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. Yes, Mr. Z is being a little reckless right now. Anyway, we ain't gonna give the details. Anyway, so on that, for those of you that checked out the link in the description, it is Mr. Armio Say Frimpong. Is Armio a PhD yet? Is he? I think he still might be in his PhD program. I'm not sure. I don't know if we should start calling him Doctor Ose Frimpong. Maybe not yet, not yet. But yeah. So the funky academic Armio Ose Frimpong. Um, and he's been getting this forever. Like I remember seeing black women find out that Army's wife is white since like 2016 2017, and like always had something to say about Army Ose Frimpong's wife being white, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're using Army and his situation to have a larger conversation about blackness in relationships, right? So I think the story that Army gave about him first meeting his wife at a what was he did he say library? He said bookstore. Bookstore, telling her that essentially he's broke, he just bought a bike, and taking her out to a diner and telling her, hey, you got to wait another 2 weeks before we can go out again because excuse me, because I'm broke. And I think that's very important. I was thinking about who the hell was Army supposed to end up with then? Who 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 was Army supposed to end up with? Now, let's be very clear. I I prefer black women. I'm in a relationship with a black woman. I don't see me not being in a relationship with a black woman. That's my preference. That's my first choice. My lady is black. But I recognize, excuse me, how lucky I got. And she has a similar outlook on what it is to be black as I do. She doesn't have a particularly extravagant neoliberal understanding of the world. She's not insanely aspirational. She's not, and I'm tying that to what Army was saying by saying, we often critique black men and their aspirations and what they like and what they say and what they do and how they act out being black in this society. And I don't know how good of a job we do in critiquing black women. I'm not saying making fun of them. I'm saying critiquing them and how some of the ways they see blackness as being a chocolate dip version of whiteness and being a lesser version of whiteness, what that then means for their intimate relationships with black men, right? Could Armio Sif Frimpong have been married to Ebony K. Williams and stay married? Uh-oh. Okay. A slightly older version of Kim Foster. Could Armio Sif Frimpong have been married to a Kim Foster and stayed married? Huh? Could Army Osei Frimpong have been married to a Remy Ma who would have cheated on his ass and stayed married? Could Army Osei Frimpong have been married to a slightly younger Jada Pinkett Smith and stayed married? Huh? Could Army Osei Frimpong could have been married to a younger Vivica A. Fox? Huh? Lisa Ray. Huh? Monica, Brandy, Maya. Any one of the women from Escape. Any one of the women from In Vogue. Huh? Any one of the women from TLC. Rest in peace, Left Eye. Huh? So, what Army was speaking to, and be very clear, Army is letting you know without saying it, his wife moves out the way and allows him to lead not just their family, but the direction that they're raising their kids in. That's very important. It's not just leading because oh male ego and male fragile ego and that's why he had to be with a white woman who he gets to dictate to. Mm-mm-mm. I'm not even speaking about the health and the athletics and any of that Army was speaking about. I'm not even going there yet, right? I'm not even going there yet. Army told you he told his wife on their first date that he's broke and he doesn't really care about money. How many black women would have heard that and that would have been it? Or pretended like they didn't care and 3 years into the relationship or 5 years into the marriage would have been like, okay, yeah, I was lying. Huh? How many black women are putting on this fake ass bohemian, right? Afrocentric, African, continent shaped earrings. And once you start talking about money and relationships, they sound like any one of these hyper consumerist, materialistic white women. Huh? Army said, okay looking black man with a big excuse me, with a big mouth. That's what he said. That's what he said he is. How many black women would be okay with marrying a maybe soon to be PhD, okay looking black man who doesn't care about money with a big mouth who could potentially lose his job at any moment because self-admittedly he has a big mouth. How many black women would be okay with that? Huh? And stay married to that man. Not get married to that man and stay married to that man regardless of his finances. See, it's easy to peen police and talk crap about black men and talk crap about a particular type of black man and I see people in the comments be like, yeah, you could play in the snow. Essentially, you don't have to give us excuses. Army is actually trying to do something here. He speaks about being black in a very specific way. He ain't one of these black women that's like, oh, you can't help who you love and mm-mm-mm, right? And they're using it as an excuse to white peen chase. Huh? You see the difference here? Are there no black women that would appreciate Army Osei Frimpong? That is not what Mr. Z is saying. But we have to be honest, like, who? A Kim Foster? Who? A Ebony K. Williams? Who? A Chrissy? Army Osei Frimpong is a dark-skinned black man. Who he was gonna end up with? A Chrissy? Who? A older Paris Milan? Who? Shira Seven? Yep. Who? right? Think about being a black man and telling a black woman, hey, you know, pretty intelligent, pretty educated. I'm a voracious reader, but I have a big mouth. I don't really care about money, and you really mean it though. Like I definitely know I need enough money to sustain myself and to maybe sustain this relationship, but I don't really care about money, like the quote unquote nicer things of life, like the materialistic things. I don't really do it for me. I'm okay with having a car for 15, 20 years, and not a luxury car neither, right? And I want to raise my kids a very particular way. You imagine saying that to a black woman? Not a black woman 40 years ago, right? Not a black woman 50 and 60 years ago. Imagine saying that to Kim Foster now. Imagine saying that to Ebony K. Williams now. Huh? Imagine saying that to Young Miami now. Huh? Tiana Taylor now. Imagine saying that to one of those black women now. SZA now. Imagine saying that to SZA now. Huh? Who was the young woman that Ebony K. Williams spoke to on Breakfast Club? Lauren. Imagine saying that to Lauren now. Imagine saying that to Lauren. Good point, G. Good point. And G says, how many black women would be okay with a dude that doesn't care about a lineup? That's going bald. Mr. Z is bald, but that's going bald and still let his hair grow out. Huh? A black man. I'm not saying not all. Now, I've definitely seen black women, you know, but not only that, but he's not particularly a baller. So you don't have, there's no like financial incentive and agenda to be with him. Huh? So yeah, he might be academically inclined, but if you don't know it, you won't know it. If you don't know it, you won't know it. But he's not driving a Navigator, a BMW, whatever the hell, a Mercedes Benz, whatever the hell, a Lexus, whatever the hell, a Tesla, whatever. Nope. Drive an Accord, right? Driving a Camry, huh? Y'all don't live in the burbs somewhere talking all this pro black stuff and all this class stuff. Meanwhile, low key, you live in upper middle class while you virtue signal and wax poetic about the working class, right? So that's the thing, if we're gonna talk about who Army should have been with and could he not have found a black woman, and I'm pretty sure he could have if he scoured the earth. But let's be very clear, like black women, like you consume more media and social media than anyone else in this society. That's a whole lot of white advertisement. That's a whole lot of white materialism. That's a whole lot of white consumerism. Black women, when we turn on the microphone and turn on the camera and you were speaking to Kevin Samuels, ain't none of y'all talking about love until you got pressed. For the handful of you that was self-aware and you realized that you sound like a materialistic monster, ain't none of y'all talking about love or, finding just a solidly decent, good man. Y'all were all talking this money thing. Where was Army going to find a black woman that doesn't have a disgusting concept of negative liberty? That sees him saying, nah, babe, we can't let him do that. Nah, babe, you can't do that. Nah, babe, we ain't gonna let her do that. Remember, negative liberty, constraints and restraints. Huh? So understand the peen policing. See, if Army was a rapper, that would make sense. Or you just saying that because you want to have an excuse, like when Tyrese kept on trying to tell us that this ex-wife was black-ish, kind of, sort of, whatever. See, if Army was trying to do that, okay, that would be a different conversation. If Army did the "oh, you can't help who you love" as an excuse to chase after white women, that would be a different conversation. The man was very clear and specific. And remember, I still didn't talk about the athleticism yet. Huh? So keeping up with Army physically, right? Deferring to him in leadership of the family and of raising the children, black children, a very specific way. Wait, and y'all give Mr. Z 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. Reckless streams, reckless streams. Don't say it in the comments. Anyway, so Army was very clear and specific on what his thing is. Um, you know, we have to ask ourselves how many black women would be okay with that. Could Army could Army had married a younger Michelle Obama? Could Army have married a younger Kamala Harris? Could Army have married, let's be honest, a slimmer Simone Sanders? A Stacey Abrams, slimmer and younger? I'm purposely saying these particular names, huh? What about the female politician that was twerking on a handstand? Where was that? New Hampshire, something like that? Huh? Who? Candace Owens? Who? Mia Love? Who? Hmm? It was a record year for black female politicians. What election was that? 2022? 2020? Which one of these black women would have married Armio Stay Frimpong and stayed married? Oh, it was Rhode Island. Thank you, Trell Bentley. Rhode Island with the black female politician twerking on a handstand. Yeah, Senator Tierra Mack. Thank you. Thank you, better you. Right? Who? See, we're not talking. Now, there's one thing I will give some of the older black women. They'll marry them a garbage man and stay married to him and be a whole attorney, right? But their daughters and granddaughters, no chance. Absolutely no chance, right? And that's one thing that would probably grind their gears even more. Armio say Frimpong over here, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in his PhD program. So let's say almost PhD, but even when he gets that, and you're not out here super hustling, right? And your wealth, your education, better yet, doesn't reflect in your wealth and how you show it off. And even that humble brag show off thing that Northeasterners like to do, where you're driving a Prius, but you drive up to a 600, 750, $1 million home in the burb somewhere. And you're donating to very specific charities so people can know your name. and your wife is part of very specific boards in the city, excuse me, or the town or the HOA, so people can know your name. Not that, dear black women, dear white women. We know the game. We know the hustle. Army said he ain't trying to be part of that neither. Right. So we're not talking about that. Oh no, we live a very humble life, and your humble life is a $500,000 a year life, right? Your quote unquote humble life is a $250,000 a year life, right? So it's easier peen police, and when you couldn't find a black woman like this. Have you heard our sisters lately, right? You're talking about the no struggle love generation, the black women. You're literally talking about black women who are saying in a white hegemonic society where they're advertised to all day, every day. You can't avoid a commercial. YouTube, Instagram, they're everywhere. Definitely terrestrial television and everything. They're everywhere. Radio. You can't avoid an advertisement. And black women are saying black women in luxury is revolution. Nobody's saying you need to work until your fingers break off. No one's saying that. But black women in luxury is revolution in a society that targets them with luxury all day, every day. Huh. Right? No struggle love, right? That's the society we're speaking about. So the peen policing I see in his comments, and definitely that I've read when people find out that Armio Frimpong is married to a white woman. Listen, Mr. Z is only into black women. Do I find other non-black women attractive here and there? Absolutely. But I have my own reasons, mainly political reasons, on why I will not seriously date or definitely not marry a non-black woman. Right? But this peen police, and what it really is, let's be very clear. Peen policing black men in this current environment is really black women saying, yeah, it doesn't matter how we act, what we like, how we speak, what we aspire for, how we might go after white men first, how we want to be a chocolate dip version of these white women socially, politically, any of that. It doesn't matter if I was the bust down and the plaything for white men. You, dear black men, still got to end up with me at the end of the day, regardless of my weight, regardless of my attitude, regardless of my aspirations. Peen policing black men and saying that black men, particularly of Army's education and intelligence level, peen policing them and saying, yeah, but you still should have ended up with a black woman in this current environment is really telling black men that it doesn't matter what black women are on. You better find your black woman, right? How many black women would have dated a black man who told you, I'm broke because I just bought a bike? I'm a voracious reader. I'm broke because I just bought a bike. And if you want to continue this, meeting up and whatnot, you gotta wait another 2 weeks until I get paid again because I don't really care about money like that. Would there have even been an Army Osei Frimpong married to this woman with 3 kids? First of all, he told you she walked into a bookstore. Well, that number one. They met in a bookstore because she was looking for a book that he had already read. Well, so first, walking in a bookstore. Then secondly, he straight up tell you, and that's how you know. That's how you know it's real. Not that, oh, I just don't care. I don't care about money, but he really does, and you know he really does, and that's the cool part. And you're waiting for the money to kick in on the other side of whatever he's pursuing educationally. You're just biding your time so that one day when the fund money for whatever he's studying comes in, or that PhD finally starts to equal some money. No, 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 no. He means it. He told you, hey, I just bought a bike and this date cost me $25 and I'm, you know, kind of broke right now, so we're gonna have to go out in another 2 weeks. But it's like I really mean it though. How many black women would have stayed? Right. In compassionate calluses, black women are advocating for social anti-miscegenation for black men low key. Not even low key. Damn, did I screenshot that? I might have screenshot it somewhere on my phone where the black woman said, um, it was a black woman that said something like, black women should have been let off the plantation, but not black men. You imagine? Find me the black men that say things like that about black women. Just so casually say, black men should have been left on the plantation. Black men should have been let go from the plantation, but not black women. Black women should have been kept on the plantation because they don't know how to act. Right? Hmm. So, and Mr. Shook to you, this is a great comment. And Mr. Shook to you says, all my years of living have taught me one thing. Don't believe a dang thing coming out of black women's mouth. Even as a married guy, I had a better relationship when I was on some F ish. They love drama and trauma. For any of us that have been in a long term relationship, any of us that are married, you realize it's just a lot of monotony. It's just like a routine, and it can be boring, and that's the beauty. Stability is boring, and that's the beauty of it. The beauty of stability is that it's boring and it's predictable. That's the great part. It's peace. Thank you, Ogun. Peace. It's peace. We're not talking about the week or weekend y'all go on vacation. We're not talking about family get-togethers. We're not talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's and no. The day-to-day relationship stuff, not on someone's birthday, the routine is boring. That's beautiful, right? The predictable, okay, babe, I'm going to this restaurant. Oh, okay. You want the same thing? Yes. Right? Hey, I just pulled up to the gas station. You want? Yes. The beauty of saying, get me the usual, and they know what the usual is. Right? That's the beautiful part. But if you need the spice and excitement all day, every day, and the drama and trauma, nope. Right? That's not stable. Right? You the movie nights and you know, going to this place and that. Yeah, no, it's not always that. And by the way, the routine may not get uninterrupted for a couple months. How many people in general, this is not even just a black woman thing, especially young people could deal with the same routine for a month or two straight, right? So I think what Army presented here is something that the black community really has to consider. Because somewhere are the Dr. Umar Johnsons that's like, yeah, why you not with a sister? Why you not with a black woman? How many black women forget? I want to be very clear on the word I'm about to use. How many black women would have appreciated Army Osei Frimpong? Not just date and marry him, truly appreciate him and what he brings to the table. Not just in, assuming that he's going to get his PhD. Not just that. The father that he is, the thinker that he is, the way he plays around with concepts and ideas and what that means for their kids and for her. Appreciated. Right. And that's another question we must ask about women in general in the West, but specifically America. Do they know how to appreciate men outside of the physicality, the sex, and the money? Ooh. You want to talk about objectified women? Women, do you really want to have a conversation about objectified? Black women, do you really want to have a conversation about objectification? Do women, do black women know how to appreciate men outside of money, status? So the resources, the provision, the protection, do you know how to appreciate men outside of that? Truly appreciate a man that may not be so obviously important. What I mean by that is if you don't know, you don't know who Army is. You don't know how he thinks, how he moves. Can you judge men and men's worth outside of the obvious, outside of the glitz and the glamour and the flash? Huh? And you could X off just about all the boss chicks. Just X all of them off. All the Ebony K. Williams, X all of them off. They could not appreciate an Army Frimpong. He don't make enough. You could X all the Ebony K. Williams, just X them off right now. All the Chrissies, X them off. All the Yannies, X them off. All the Paris Malons spending $2,000 on a dinner date with their husband, X them off. Nope, they don't. They couldn't. No way. Absolutely not. And how many black women are just like that? All the young Miamis over here hoping and praying that Diddy would give them a kid or ring or both, X them off. How many black women just did we just eliminate just with that? All the subscribers to Shira 7 and try to sprinkle and abracadabra. They weigh into a wealthy ass man, X all of them off. All the women that called into Kevin Samuel's show looking for a six-figure, really a millionaire ass man, whether white, black, Latino, or otherwise, X them off. Right? And N.M. Hawkins says, because I really want to address this, that's why I'm reading it. When black women marry down, that is proof that they can like a man beyond resources. Here's the problem: black women still ain't marrying down, even if they make more money than him. If you only make $10,000 more than your husband, maybe 15, maybe even 20, but you weigh 100 pounds more than him, you ain't dating down. and you have a crap attitude, you're not dating down. Huh? And you're in more debt than him, so okay, he doesn't make more money than you, but he's not in $50,000 student loan debt. And we already know women have more kids than men, so we can't even do the, oh, but he owed child support. Probably not. Right? So you're in $50,000 student loan debt, and you weigh 100 pounds more than him, and you have a crap attitude. Who's the one who dated down? Who's the one who married down? And you're going to be more likely to divorce him 80% within 5 years. Who's the delusional one that married down and then divorced? No, but Jake says just ignore her, but it speaks to what I'm saying. This speaks exactly to what Army is saying. If Ebony K. Williams would have married Armiose Frimpong, she would have thought she married down. And I promise you, even as famous as Ebony is compared to Armiose Frimpong, and she's still not famous for real, who's going to leave a greater positive impact on the world? And there you go. So who really would have married down? If Ebony K. Williams was married to Armiose Frimpong, first of all, she would have divorced him in no time. Right? But who would have been the one who truly married down? As I said before, can women truly evaluate and appreciate men, black men specifically, outside of the resources, outside of the orgasms, outside of the physicality? You want to know why the marriage rate is so crap and why the divorce rate is so crap and it tracks along the money that the men make or don't make? Huh? The birth rate went to the crapper. You want to know why? Once again, I said this before. The groomers, the white elite men, the capitalists, groomed women in ways that were beneficial for the rich white elite men. He's the one who gets the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I want that one. Right? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I want that one. So what does that mean for all the other men, including the men like Armio Frimpong? Right? Now, how many people on the planet can have a conversation with Armio Frimpong and not look like an idiot? That includes many of your millionaires and even billionaires. Huh? You know, I was what was I watching? And I read through the comments, and it was a dude who said he was a brown belt in like mixed martial arts or something like that. And he said he'll talk to his homegirls, and they'll be like, put me down with some of your friends, and he'll try to put them down with like these 5'9", 5'10" MMA fighters, and she'll be like, oh, but he's not big enough and whatever. And he said in the comments, this guy can murder like 99% of the world's population with his bare hands. Right? And that to me is a perfect and like so emblematic of this weird ass way of like women still judging things like we're on the Serengeti. Right? Like this 5'10", 5'9" dude can body the 6'3" dude that you think is this super dude just because he's jacked, just because he got muscles on muscles. Now, if you're talking about John Jones, now that's a different conversation. If you're talking about LeBron, the MMA fighter, that's a different conversation. Like if LeBron was an MMA fighter, that's what Mr. Z is saying. But the 6'3" dude with the muscles will get folded by that 5'9". 170-pound dude, right? And compassionate calluses learned yesterday that Sparta fell because of a below replacement birth rate. And there you go. And a little while longer after that, a name that was more famous and more known, Alexander the Great, came out of Macedon. Macedonia, sorry, right? Out of all places. And Sparta is the place that produced the manly men, the men, right? The men. The funniest thing about the movie 300 is when Leonidas calls the Athenians boy lovers. And like, if you know anything about Greek history, you'd be like, weren't y'all over here like raping your male slaves? What are you talking about? But of course, right? The Athenians were the philosophers and the whatevers, right? That movie got all type of messed up things about it, but and racist undertones, overtones, right? For Leonidas to call the Athenians boy lovers, and you're like, wait a minute, which one of the Greek city states weren't? Wait, which one of y'all weren't doing that? What are you talking about? Oh man, just saying, right? We're not even gonna mention the fact that how racist that movie is when you really look into it and notice that everybody on Xerxes' side, on the Persian side, were all different people of color, and the Greeks were whitey Mick white, and the person that sold them out was goddamn the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh, that movie was so damn racist. The fact that we like that movie. Shout out to the Chicago dudes, 300. All right, all right. Do you really know what you repping, or does it just sound cool? Right. So back to what we were saying, like, you know, I thought this peen policing thing, and to hear Army actually just saying, like de-police, like, oh man, because I'm pretty sure the frustration is real. Like, and you hear black women say this all the time. Like, where were black men? Black men, the wizard doesn't like me and my hair and my skin tone. I'm dark skinned. Right? Black women get to do all of that talk all the time. As a matter of fact, Ashley Okuna did the same thing to a British brother when they went to Britain on Grapevine. There was a season that was filmed in Britain, and one of these it probably was Nigerian descent brothers, maybe Ghanaian or Nigerian descent brothers, was speaking about like, yo, he met his white girlfriend at like some like out there event that like not a lot of black people go to. And like Ashley was pretty much saying, well, you should have just held out for a white girl. I mean, excuse me, for a black girl. You should have just held out for a black girl. And like black women get to say that to black men. Okay, fine. Mr. Z prefers black women. I will only consider black women for marriage. Period. Okay, fine. If that's the rules, then you don't get to play moral high ground. And when you date out and marry out, it's because black men are insufficient. Guess what? You don't even get to play the numbers game, black women. Well, there's 2 million more black women than black men. If not all of those black men are married, then don't call it. Oops. Right? Ishmael, I think this is true. Ishmael says army is tapped in. Make no mistake. I know. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Right. Let's call a thing, man. I, you know, as I said, this, I'm about being with a black woman. But who was it? I got lucky. Like so far, so far we ain't married yet. We don't got no kids yet. Some of that real ass pressure ain't hit yet, like that, right? But so far, and Dr. Thunder killed me one day. I was talking about this, and, and what did I say? Is like you watching all these people crash out on the road in front of you, and you find a way to maneuver through. And I think Dr. Thunder said something like, "No, you get spun out too. You crash too. You just crash right into a good wife or a good woman or something like that, like after the fact, right?" And I think even Black Uru and Dr. Thunder have both, and these are married black men, right? I think what Black Uru working on, what, 3 decades, just about, and they both talking about how much of this is straight up luck, not skill, luck. Dear black women, when these black men say luck, they're talking about lucky that a black woman, their wives, haven't decided to torch the whole goddamn contract, torch the marriage. These are married black men that are telling black men that it's, yeah, skill matters, communication, emotional intelligence, all that other stuff that women use as excuses to leave men, but really luck, right? Which brings us right back around to who would have Army ended up with? Okay, fine. He's not married to a white woman. He's out here looking for a black wife. What are his choices? Kim Foster, Chrissy, Ebony K. Williams. Are you serious? Yanni, are you serious? Paris Milan, but she's married. But if she was single, huh? See, Mr. Shook to you, married. Oh, the luck component is real. And there you go. Right? Shell Bentley was married, right? There, but the grace of God. Like, for real. No one is saying luck is 60% of the equation on finding, marrying, and staying. Oh, and let's also go through this. 26% of poor Americans are married. 39% of working class is actually working class. I thought it was middle class, but it's working class. And then 56% of middle class and above. So that's how we're going to start saying it now, because I was saying it wrong this whole time. Dear women, dear black women, that doesn't speak to a man's intelligence, his drive, his motivation. That doesn't speak to his concepts and ideas of what it means to be black in this society, in these United States. That doesn't speak to any of that. That speaks to women either not wanting to be married or divorcing men for financial reasons. Not being married for mainly financial reasons, divorcing for mainly financial reasons. That's what that speaks to, right? And Big Kev says they want to have sex for superficial reasons. That's all. Which is, you know what? Even, okay, fine. Understandable. Then once again, Peen policing Army Ose Frimpong, though. If you want to have sex for superficial reasons, fine. But then you don't get to penis police and Peen police a black man who, when it's time to get married, made a very calculated decision because of the future he wanted, because the way he wanted to raise his children, right? And didn't we hear similar from Ebony K. Williams when she was speaking about being a single mother by choice and the reasons why? But she doesn't want to have to debate with the man about whether this child should be vaccinated and what neighborhood they're going to live in and what school or whatever, however she framed that. And how many people, women, black women, contested what Ebony K. Williams was saying. For all of you black women who have an issue with how Armio Se Frimpong framed this, did you have the same issue when Ebony K. Williams said, I would rather be a single mother, this is by choice, than debate a man about vaccines and whatever else she brought up as an example? Right? Hmm. You know. So yeah, if they have sex for superficial reasons, that's fine. Right? We're human, that's fine. But when it's time to get married and people, and I've said it before, Toya could recall me saying it. Hey, black women are fine with everything until it's time to get married. That's when everybody's hearts start getting hurt. People feel people's feelings start getting, and this is usually a people of color thing, but definitely a black people thing, and then definitely a black woman thing. Everybody's having sex with everyone. Everyone's flirting with everyone. Everybody's having sex with everyone. When it's time to start collecting rings and getting married, that's when black women start getting their feelings hurt. Because that lets you know when the white guys and the Latino guys are like, oh yeah, this was fun, but I'm gonna go back home now. And then the black men are like, yeah, I'm looking for someone who's not trying, who's not gonna divorce me in 5 years. I'm looking for someone that doesn't have a very toxic understanding of negative liberty. I'm looking for someone that's not hyper materialistic and consumerist. I'm looking for someone that doesn't envy the upper middle class white woman's life, right? I'm looking for someone that doesn't think that black women in luxury is revolutionary. I'm looking for someone that doesn't get off on being argumentative just for the sake of being argumentative. That's when black women's feelings start getting hurt, right? And John Jones, thank you for the super chat. He says, shout out to Z, aka Mr. Always Late but Never Miss. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Right? Ishmael, is that another comment in his comment section? So he found a woman that his mother should have been. And Army has been very clear about, his parents' divorce and how his mother pretty much torched that and how she low-key resented it later on in her life. And she admitted it. And she said, I did it because it was the thing to do. Which, wait a minute, didn't we hear similar from Tyrese's wife? Uh-oh. And didn't we hear similar from that older black woman who said when she started making more money than her husband, then she divorced him and now he's married and, with someone else and she's over here racking up body count? And she regrets it also? Huh. Right? So yeah, and Army said his wife comes from, that's the white wife, comes from a broken home too. So both of them are trying their hardest not to do that again, right? Not to duplicate that. There you go. Huh. Thank you, Jake. The other black woman, the one woman who lost weight and cheated on her husband. And now her husband, her black woman, her ex-husband is happily married with someone else, and she's just out here. Black women really. This is why. What's her name? Zora Neale Hurston. The two freest people in America are white men and black women, because black women really. It's not up to me as a black man. It should be. It's not up to me as a black man to tell black women how they should think about this. But maybe consider, dear black women, you have a very toxic concept, toxic relationship, better yet, with negative liberty, particularly in relation to black men. Very toxic understanding of negative liberty. And thinking of heterosexual relationship with black men as inherently oppressive, and it's not worth it because he ain't a rich white man. He ain't white, he ain't rich, and he ain't not rich and white. And if that's how you see black men, right, as defective white men, then you get what you get. And getting what you get means that the educated, intelligent Armio Frimpongs on occasion marry out. Because it's not about valuing him in an economic sense. Because that's the only way y'all know how to see men for real, for real. It's about appreciating him and what he brings to the table outside of the resources. Right? Outside of the resources. Give me a second, y'all, because I want to see what this is. Wait a minute. And no one says, this is what I was trying to find. No one says nerdy and awkward black women have the same preferences as other black women. I don't see awkward and nerdy black women married coming out of college. I graduated from an HBCU. I know, right? Huh. And Toya says, I was going to stay quiet since I attended a PWI, but I can confirm no one, though I think nerdy black women divest quicker. Listen to that. Hmm. Yeah. Once again, men ain't ish, but at least white men who ain't ish, at least they have the resources, right? Ain't that right, black women? At least it's worth being under this patriarchal, hegemonic, toxic construct called a quote unquote nuclear family with the white man, because he still is white in a white hegemonic society. The black man, on the other hand, I mean, if he ain't kissing your ass and bowing down, then what's the point in being with him? Whether he has more money than you or not. Oops. Right? Huh. As I said before, there couldn't be no Army Ose Friend Pong with an Ebony K. Williams. Right? Absolutely not. With a Kim Foster. Absolutely not. Right? Name them. Who? Who? Does that mean no black women? No, that's not what we're saying. Right? And ICIP3 or ICIP13. There we go. Morning Z, morning, morning, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Right. Oh, I did not see that. And Jake says, did you see Wrench Turner's video about the black man making his Asian wife a money bouquet? The comment Z, I bet. Right. I bet. And it's just once again, and I said it before, right? I think BGS said this too. Like, keep playing around, and what's going to end up happening is white women and Asian women are going to take black men from the top, and Latina women and working class white women are going to take black men from the bottom. And then middle class and black men in the middle are just going to be a free for all for everyone. And that's going to really hurt black women. And you won't realize it until your fall black plan is no longer there. And some of us have seen that with our aunts, our grand aunts, our aunts. Everybody got an aunt that was out here. Now she 50, 60 something, 70 something. And yep, doesn't mean if she would have been in a marriage that, the man would have passed on by now. That's not what we're saying. Right? Hmm. Right? So I definitely want to cover this today because that peen policing, and I'm glad that Army called it for what it is. You can't peen police a group of men that you call trash just so you can guilt them into staying there so that after you get your mind right and you run right into the wall at 1,000,000 miles an hour on the other side of whatever age it is where you finally wake up so that they can be there and pick up the pieces that's the shattered shards of your life. Right? You can't shame men like that. Maybe pre-internet, maybe, probably not, but definitely pre-high-speed internet and social media. Oh, that those days are over. Black women, women in general, but definitely black women. Because isn't that the gamble, right? The gamble isn't, I got my mind right, and I hope someone recognizes, I'm not the same me that I was at 27, 32, or whatever. Right? Like I've got my mind. I just hope that someone doesn't bury me with my past and with some of the decisions I made when I was, young, dumb, and naive. And I really wanted to use another phrase, but it would sound too triple X. Right? That's not the gamble, and that's not the hope. The hope is, I hope I meet a man that's desperate, lonely, and naive. So when I hit that wall at 1,000,000 miles an hour and shatter into 1,000,000 pieces, I hope I can meet a man, a black man preferably, who does not care and helps me to pick up those pieces, if not pick up the pieces for me. That's the gamble. And dear black women, will you find a couple of those? Yeah, you'll find a couple. You'll find a couple. Yeah. Will it be what some of the Xers, definitely older Xers, were? Absolutely not. The boomers, you got to be kidding me. Silent generation, don't make me laugh. We all done seen it because some of our grandmas and our mothers did it. two, three kids from two, three different men, and they married the fourth guy, and the fourth guy stay and be with them until one of them passes. We all seen it. We all got the grandma or the aunt that did it, or even our old mothers. Everybody want to talk about grandpops having a family on the other side of town. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that grandma, all of our uncles and aunts are from different dudes, and there's like six of us. Ain't nobody want to say that they didn't find out until they were goddamn in their 30s that Uncle Lester, Uncle Remus, Aunt Jessie, all of them got different dads. Nobody want to talk about the fact that grandma was out here. Hey, I'm Haitian. It's the same thing over here too. I got a whole lot of Jamaican homeboys. It's the same thing over there too. Right? Nobody wants to. Everybody wants to talk about granddad had another side family. The side family popped up at the funeral. Nobody want to talk about the fact that grandma has 5 and 6 different children from 4 and 5 different men. 3, 4, and 5 different men. Right? International Ronin says, why does Uncle Otis look like the milkman? I'm saying. Right? And once again, ICIP13, thank you for the super chat. Right? Oh, I ain't gonna be like my mom. I ain't gonna be like my grandma. They took crap from granddad, and granddad was abusive. And wait a minute. Ain't nobody want to say that grandma almost shot granddad to death? Boy, there'd be a whole lot of man. I'm telling you, when y'all be finding out some of these secrets, right? Huh? You find man, look, and we're not even gonna talk about the fact that some of our mothers and some of our aunts ain't tell their ex-husband still don't know that one of the kids ain't his. Or he does know, and he's still acting like he don't know. As long as nobody tell him and put it in his face, they both she gonna act like the kid is his, and he gonna act like the kid is his. Huh? Y'all want to keep on talking about men, black men and their toxicity. Black women, y'all so lucky. Man, white society did y'all a solid with that when they gave y'all a microphone in the 80s. They did that on purpose. They purposely did not let black men talk. Because black women were going around the black community, white society, just woe is me, everything. All the talk and them talks, those talk shows, you are not the father, exposed a whole lot of black women, and then these paternity court shows exposing a whole lot of black women, women in general. How heartbreaking is it that your mom passes, someone tells you, oh, by the way, your dad ain't your dad, this other man your dad. So you have both of them do a DNA test, find out neither one of them are your dad. How heartbreaking is that? Your aunt tell you this man is your dad, not the man that you thought was your dad, and neither one of them are your dad. And yet we got the unmitigated gall to talk about black men's toxicity and try to peen police black men. And we try to frame it in these weird ass ways. FD signifier, why black women have more children than black men. Meanwhile, there's a whole lot of light skinned and mixedish black children running around the black community, and they don't got no black daddy. Right? Nobody want to talk about that. Only logical, only logical sense. It's weird how many black people have to look for their fathers on their own. Man, look. First of all, shout out to only logical. He doing the Lord work over there, right? The divesting gone wrong series, man, right? I never knew that Whoopi had nothing but ex-white husbands and stuff. Like I always felt like I knew about with Ted Danson or whoever it was that she ended up with. That like I always knew about him, and I knew she had a thing for white dudes. I didn't know it was like all white dudes. Same thing with Maya Angelou. I just watched the Maya Angelou thing this morning. I was like, I knew she like had I knew she had like one or two like white exes. I didn't know the whole roster was white. God damn. Ain't nobody say nothing about that. Once again, black men talk black and sleep white, right? And then we roll out the scroll, not even the list, the scroll, the goddamn carpet with all the names of black women from the civil rights era and before who either married white men or exclusively dated white men or got piped by white men. Can't even fit in a goddamn composition book, right? And Telescope says, I never knew how atypical normal my family was compared to so many of my people. Thanks, mom. Thanks, dad. Thank God. Same. Um, I think there's something to be said about what Army said about how, he came from a broken family, his wife came from a broken family, and they're working really hard to make sure that that doesn't happen. Um, Similar, right? Like not my family, but I mean like my parents, right? Excuse me. And like you see this, like the kids get their mind like, yeah, I don't want to do to a kid what my parents did to me. But then there's others of us that don't learn. You saw the what was that 60 minute or 2020 clip from what the early 80s with the young women and all of them had kids and only one of them want to be married to their baby's father. And what did a couple of them say? Well, I grew up without a dad and I did okay. No, you didn't. No, actually, no, you didn't. No, absolutely not. I don't need a man in my life. I don't need a husband. I don't, you know, who wants the responsibility of raising a kid and having a man in what? All right. Once again, negative liberty, a toxic relationship with negative liberty. And what these black women, these specific type of black women are actually saying is, you have to buy me at the highest bid. I need the highest bidder. Anyone less than whatever arbitrary amount I have in my head, it's oppression. It's oppression even with the rich guy, but it's worth it. That's how they're seeing relationships. Intimate relationships with men, marriages with men, they see as inherently oppressive. But at least with the rich guy, particularly the rich white guy, the upper middle class white guy, it's kind of worth it. The upper middle class black guy, maybe kind of sort of maybe possibly worth it. As reflected by the marriage numbers and the divorce numbers, mind you. Mr. Z's not just pulling this out of his rear end. Right? And look at that. And Toya says, I know one personally that is very Whoopi esque in the face and been dating Ron Hubbard look alike since uni days. Man. And for most of them, let's be honest, bro. Like eventually some of them get married to the white dude. but they get ran through by white dudes before that. And they never count that part. You see that with Chrissy and how she talk, right? Like they're holding out for that one white husband at the end of the 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 of them that just piped and left. And then when they finally end up with the white husband, then they tell you how great white men are and how all the white men they ever dated were so great, unlike black men. It's like, bruh, you got piped down by like 6, 7, 8, 12, 15, 20 white dudes before you ended up with this white husband. What are you talking about? They appreciate my natural hair and they appreciate my darker skin and my features, unlike black men. Black men don't appreciate my dark skin and my 4C hair, and white men do. Didn't you just end a 20 run white dude marathon? Didn't these white dudes have you out here in the dating scene for like 15 years? Five, not even five, 10, 15 years before you finally got married to one? Right? And I think Tone Talk spoke to this one time, right? So but he was mainly speaking about it in more of like a money, sense where with women, in this case black women, they'll count the one doctor that they went on a date with that was like $350 date or $400 date, and like that is what they want their level to be because of it. But they're not counting how many guys just ghosted them when they tried to do that little um I'm gonna kind of try to bamboozle you and trick you into bringing me to a expensive restaurant, and we catch on because many of us, especially nowadays, we're catching on to that, the little foodie call thing, right? They don't count all the guys that ghost them, right? They don't count that. They count that one guy, maybe two if they're super lucky and if they look good enough, that took them on that 250, 300, 350, $400 date, and then act like that's their level. Oh, I bet on a $400 date. Yeah, but then you were communicating with how many men before you got to that? You went on how many $40 and $50 dates, $60 dates before you got to that $400 date? Right? Only logical says no one goes on a $400 date. Well, you got to tell that to all the sisters, especially on Instagram, fronting. I got the map in my somewhere in my screenshots where they show every state and how much like the average date is, and it was a whole lot of black women copping please. Y'all only going on dates for $100? Y'all only see here in New York. I've been to New York multiple times, dozens. Well, not dozens, over a dozen times. Definitely over a dozen times. Right? It's like, I don't. I'm from New York. I don't know how many people can only go on $100 date. Oh boy, they stay lying to you about what the guys in the past did, so that you could come up and start paying money that they never actually had spent on them. But they think you don't know that that's the game. Right? Huh? Sounds like Ebony K. Williams, actually. Come to think about it, and what she said on horrible decisions. Got a little four-door Audi, and you live in a home in Greenwich, and you think you balling. Wow. And yet y'all over here trying to peen police Armio say Frimpong, right? Brother, you said that's if they do at all. That's true, right? And Mr. Shook to you says, "Oh crap! I didn't realize how late it is. I gotta move out the way." Rogers, is streaming right now. So we're gonna make our closing in a minute. And Mr. Shook to you says, remember BGS clip of Becky on Shay Sade saying all the white women she knows married up? Exactly. And they still manipulate the situation to their benefit without the disrespect. Man, look, but that speaks to like how delusional a lot of these people are. We're talking about black women in particular, but even some of the brothers that like try to do that captain save them. Because if y'all check RBO say Frimpong's comment section, there's a couple of brothers trying to do the captain save them thing. Would it have been nice if Armio say Frimpong was with a black woman? Yeah, if the black woman appreciated him. Right? We are talking about the same women that said, find the best men for the job. And then we turn around in an environment where black women are telling you to find the best men for the job, which low key is just them saying, go find you some white dude. Because black men apparently all of black men woke up um post 1967 after Loving versus Virginia, and all of a sudden we don't like 4C hair no more and dark skin and full lips and fat asses. Apparently, we just woke up and they say, you know what? These are ugly features, and all of a sudden 1967 rolls around, and all of a sudden white men find these features attractive. Black men all of a sudden woke up in 1967 and didn't find these features attractive, and white men woke up in 1967 and did find these features attractive. Yeah, that's it. Right? So when black women say, "Go find you the best men for the job," right? So yeah, when and her name was Laura. When Laura said that, what that says everything, because black women don't really understand. Like we already said, we listed it on my channel before, right? All the presidents and politicians that we could think of that married up. Maybe they were the ones with the political power, but their wife is definitely the one with the money. McCain, anyone, right? Somebody mentioned Joe Kennedy when I brought that up. I knew that Joe Kennedy, right? JFK's dad, right? George Washington. Like you see this all the time. But black women like, and that's why it's no surprise to us when we find out about these black women who marry them a white dude, and then you find out she's the one with the money, right? All these no struggle love, find you the best man for the job ass black women. And these swirlers are low. Didn't we kind of hear that from Ostefco? She didn't want to say the race of these men. Ostefco never want to talk about the race of the men that are pulling up to first dates with their gym clothes on, or these men that she got pregnant by, but then something happened and she couldn't have the kids. Right? Oh yeah, John Kerry, exactly. John Kerry, another one married to Teresa Hines. Yes, Hines as in the ketchup Hines, right? And thank you once again for the super chat, Mr. Shook to you. And John Jones says, I'm standing at the door, my passport in the in the drawer. You said that, and I thought about Biggie kicking the door, waving the 4-4, right? Mm-mm-mm. And Jake says, Aja Naomi King from How to Get Away with Murder and Tika Sumter equal both with white men. They make more money than. Bruh, come on, man. Like, that's the story of many black women in Hollywood. Huh? What's her name from that school show? Um, Quinta. Isn't Quinta married to a white man too? Doesn't she earn more than him too? Is she more not? Is she not more famous? And she, I said it to y'all before. Like when Quinta was on BuzzFeed, like it was Quinta, it was a couple of other sisters, and I think all of them were with white dudes. I'm like, God damn! Like if that's not something, right? And this is around the same time, if I'm not mistaken, where Ashley Acuna said, "I went to a restaurant." Ashley Acuna from the Grapevine. I went to a restaurant and like all the black men were with white women. And meanwhile, on BuzzFeed, all of these black women are with white men. And Armo said, "Oh, Stefko is pregnant." No, 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 no. She's not pregnant. She's not pregnant. Actually, she can't have kids, right? Hmm. I'm just saying. And once again, thank you for the super chat. Was it John Jones? Look, all of this ties to that peen policing. The real question is, have we raised black women to appreciate black men who aren't ballers? I didn't say just be with, just to say you're with. I'm using the word appreciate on purpose, right? Crystalline Karazin says, go where you're appreciated, not tolerated. All right, fine. You want to talk about tolerate? Have we raised black women to truly appreciate black men, not just tolerate them? Because the one thing you do appreciate is maybe the good sex and his physicality. Can you appreciate a black man when he tells you no? When he says, yeah, my daughter's not wearing that. When he says, my son is not watching that. Huh? Can you appreciate him then? Regardless if you see the vision. Uh-oh. Oh, Malika Andrews. Yawn. Right? I've seen Malika Andrews what is she even married to him yet? Right? Was Carrie Champion with a white dude? Better use his. I know you meant to say Malika. Malika Andrews, Sage Steele, blech. Sage Steele, Kimberly Martin, Carrie Champion. It was Carrie Champion with a white dude? I always found Carrie Champion attractive. Put her put on a list of another one. Her and Tika Sumter. Right? Not Francesca. I always thought she was cute too. Francesca used to have this little. I think she still might have it. I haven't watched it in forever years. YouTube channel, and she said kind of sort of every once in a while like pro black stuff, but like from a black feminist kind of angle. And I knew she was married to a white dude. And I remember one time she was like filming or something, and like ASAP Rocky and them came down the stairs, or like came down the hall, bent the quarter, and like ASAP Rocky said, "Hey, pretty lady," and whatever, and she made a big deal of it. But I was like, it don't even matter, bitch, was you married to a white man? And now y'all telling me and let me see what Jake says. She was married to a white man. Yes, I remember that. And I think she's with a white woman now. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Are we talking about the same Francesca? Jake, tell me we ain't talking about the same Francesca. And see, Toya said, I'm disappointed. Me too. Francesca, you little cute chocolate sister. Right? Jake said she pulled to Aisha Taylor. That was another one. Tall, cute sister. White dude, then white woman. Man. And these are the people that want to peen police Armio Say Frimpong, right? You want to peen police Armio Say Frimpong, but ain't none of y'all saying anything about black women who are the bust downs for white men, then throw a temper tantrum because instead of ending up with a black man afterward, for the brothers that would have them, I'm not going second after no goddamn white man. Um, for the brothers that would have them, instead of them ending up with a brother, they turn around and end up with a woman, whether white or black. Excuse me. And none of y'all say nothing about that. Wow. And Jake says Ramsey shaved her head and everything. All the dreads are gone. Damn. The black masculine says Wanda Sykes. Yikes. You know who I was thinking about before? I was thinking about Wanda Sykes. What's uh what is her name? Niecy Nash, right? Better you said shoot. Imagine being after a white woman, right? I'm saying. So y'all over here peen policing black men. And let's be very clear, you peen police black men to force black men to end up with black women with insane body count, with an insane body count, or with horrible attitudes and demeanors. But if you could keep black men in the black community, then she don't have to change anything, right? All right, Chrissy, you want to talk about um if enough black women marry out and date out, then it's going to force black men to change their behavior because Crystal and Carrison's on the same type of tip. All of y'all are on the same type of, well, if we could starve black men out, then we can make them act the way we want. If we could just whore ourselves out to non-black men, fine. What if black men start thinking the same thing? Oops. Chaka said, panel, we got to wait till Friday. We got to wait till Friday, right? I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I went home and knocked out, right? Played Forza for a little bit and KO'd. Right. And Eric Deadman says, and thank you for the super chat. And thank you once again, John Jones, for the super chat. He said, I'm standing at the door, my passport in the drawer. That's hysterical. Oh man. And Eric Denman says, and thank you for the super chat. Z, when you realize that the most of the insults, complaints of a lot of black women regarding black men is projection, David Carroll was right, but was hard to take. Yeah, no, David Carroll's breakdown of particularly black women and interracial relationships, what they're willing to do for white men, I think was masterful. And that's another reason they danced on his grave. I remember Paris Malone speaking about it. She danced on his grave too, right? Huh? And what did David Carroll say? What did he say different than what we hear young black women say? What black men what black men will tolerate, white men won't. These non-black men won't. Black women are saying, young black women are saying that. So miss me with dancing on David Carroll's grave because he said that. And he said it years before this black woman did. Right? Y'all dancing on David Carroll's grave, and yet on Kevin Samuels' channel are black women calling in trying to throw a white man, their white boyfriends, their white husbands, their white sugar daddies in Kevin Samuels' face as a way to flex and say, oh, I don't got to worry about what you Negroes think, you little peon black people, black men. I don't have to worry about your ideas of beauty and looks and whatever. I got me a white man translation. I have me a man better than you. Simply because he's white, he's better than you. So I don't have to worry about you and your little shallow, stupid beauty standards. Little man. I got me a white man. So y'all dancing on David Carroll's grave when on Kevin Samuels' channel right now is proof of everything that David Carroll was talking about. Then Kevin passes and then you dance on his grave. But once again, on his channel is proof of everything that David Carroll was talking about. Okay. Right. Just saying. All right. So on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. I definitely want to come to y'all today with this because I think what those comments under Amyo Se Frimpong video are unwarranted. I get black people wanting to see other black people, particularly talented, educated, intelligent, beautiful, attractive black people with other black people. Because to be frank with you, that's Mr. Z's preference also. I love seeing black people, especially, black people that are going somewhere or that have something to give with other black people. I like it too. But you have to create the environment to keep that going. If that's your goal, you have to help to create the environment for that. You can't just peen police, right? And try to shame black men in an environment where black women are trying to push Simone Biles Owens to divorce her husband because of an interview that even Miss Simone Biles Owens doesn't have a problem with. You're trying to tell me in an environment where black women are insulting other black women's hair on their freaking wedding day? Insulting other black women's hair while they're competing in the Olympics? You're trying to tell me in a community, in an environment where black women are telling a black woman, a young black married woman, that she should divorce her husband because her husband embarrassed her? This is the other black woman. The one black woman doesn't believe her husband embarrassed her. But these other black women, most of them not married, never been, and probably never will be, they're saying to this woman she should divorce her husband. And then y'all in that same community want to penis police Armio Se Frimpong. Okay. And that makes sense. Alrighty then. Just saying. Thank you, Mr. Shook to you. If he says we need to be at the gym at 6, you better be up at 5 getting ready. That's a black woman saying that when the white man says we got to be at the gym at 6, you need to be up at 5. She was very clear that what we put black men through, these non-black men will not tolerate it. The same thing that David Carroll said years before. Just saying. And the community that thinks they can peen police, Armio Se Frimpong, say nothing to this young lady. Say nothing to black women like Chrissy, right? Like Crystal and Karazin, who are this young black woman's ideological mothers and aunts. Just saying. Can't penis police Armio Se Frimpong when you have a community full of Ebony K. Williams, Kim Fosters, Chrissy's, Crystal and Karazin, Shira Sevens, Chris Logics, Princella. I didn't even mention Princella. Right? K. Michelle saying men are not good people, black men. Even after being the bust down for Ryan Lochte. Oops. Huh? In a community full of women like that, we think we have the right to penis police Armio Frimpong. A community that produces the Kimberly Crenshaws and the Bell Hookses of the world. Bell Hook's a whole hypocrite. Huh. Just saying. Anyway, y'all. Okay, on that note, we'll pause right there. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of y'all day. Um, love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. For the love of God, um, shout out to Armio Frimpong. I think he's doing great work on his channel. Um, you know, I understand. Would it have been great if we found out that Army had a black wife? Yeah, that would have been great. But what's the point of having a black wife just to say you have a black wife and yet your home life is miserable because your black wife is Ebony K. Williams, hyper materialistic, and she wants to show life she wants a very specific type of life, or a Kim Foster who's a whole hypocrite when it comes to this leftist project, right? What's the point? Just saying. So yeah, and Mr. 60 says, please head over to Roger when Mr. Z is done with the stream. Yes, y'all go check out Raj. Right. So what's the point? I'm gonna go look up this Francesca thing, y'all. God damn. I ain't gonna lie and say like I wasn't like, you know what? It's the same thing I'm thinking about with what's her name, Lindsay, right? From the Black Bachelorette. Like, okay, let's see. But what about if we find out now she's with a white woman or with another white dude? Like I said, you better hurry up. You better hope Van Lathan's single. Y'all better make it work, right? But you better try to parlay this excuse me, this divorce into a relationship with, I don't know, one of these retired rappers or something. One of these, you better go do an interview with Sierra and try to find out how she made it happen. Better get your Sierra prayer on, even though you don't have a kid, but still. Anyway, on that note, everyone, we'll pause right there. Truly, love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. The Roger Report is streaming other non-Manosphere content. Go read something. For the love of God, so y'all don't sound like the women and the men in the comments of Armio Frimpong's video chastising him about having a white wife. The man is very deliberate about how he moves and how he does things. Instead of y'all who's just gonna marry somebody just because they're black and end up with a goddamn terror on your hands. And be divorced within 5 years because she doesn't appreciate you, Mr. Black Man. And on that note, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.